Now we're back in our Flashcard Quiz app application, and then we're going to try to re-implement this with InheritedWidget. Now you may have noticed that we are spending considerable amount of time implementing InheritedWidget pattern, and that's because popular packages like a provider, like a Riverpod, block, build context extensions. They're just, among other mechanisms, they are developer-friendly wrappers around InheritedWidget. So understanding InheritedWidget, it just makes learning state managing packages significantly easier. So we're going to see how we might re-implement this using InheritedWidget. But then, like we've said earlier, that's not to say InheritedWidget is the answer to all, but we're going to get into that anyway. Okay, so our app is working as before. If I click this, it flips, got it right, on and on like that. So this is still using the set state widget method. So we're going to switch this using, we're going to flip this using InheritedWidget. So there are a couple of refactoring that we're going to do in our code. So if you look at this, you realize that at the root of our application, that is at the entry point, because we're calling this quiz app, and then this is quiz app, and it holds a material app, and then the home point to flashcard screen. So there is a lot going on inside is a flashcard screen, like so. See, I'm not going to bother going through this again because we've gone through this before. So what we're going to do is we're going to move most of the functionalities inside his class, this flashcard screen stateful widget. We're going to move it inside a flashcard scope. So eventually this is going to become a lane and it's going to be a stateless widget. So it's going to pull data from our scope. So I have prepared a folder here. Is it a package now? And then inside this folder, I have flashcard scope. So inside this flashcard scope, we're implementing that encapsulation pattern where we're going to be wrapping our inherited widget inside a stateful widget, and then we're going to be hiding the inherited widget away from the consumers. So this is the approach we've implemented in the previous tutorial. So we have the flashcard scope, which is extending the stateful widget, and it's taking this widget child, and then as before, our helper method, which allows the sender to access the state, and then here we have the static of method, and then we're setting the result to context that depend on inherited widget of exact type, and then it's of type flashcard scope data. This flashcard scope data is going to be the class that inherits that extends our inherited widget. The other time I made it private to the same class, but I'm taking it outside of this class here. So it's here. We're going to get into that shortly. So we're returning the data objects in that class. I don't want to reveal it just yet. So all of the data that we have inside our flash screen here, all of this, we're moving them inside our flashcard scope, because this is what is going to be holding our data now. Our consumers are just going to be pulling from these stateful widget now. So here we have the flashcard scope state, which is turning these, and then we have a flashcard list as before. So we have 2 here. That should get the job done. Then we have our mutable data, which is our state. We have it here. It's inside our flashcard scope, which is the stateful widget that we're going to wrap our inherited widget in. And then we have some getter methods here. For this is for cards, current card, using the subscript operator. Then we've covered this in a previous implementation, and then the rest, the score, the current index, show answer. What else do we have? And then we have the flip card, which handles our twin animation builder, I think, and then you just flip the show answer on and off. And then we have our answer question, and then which increment our scores, and then the likes. I've explained all of these, so it's just a bit of a repetition that we're doing here, except we're just re-implementing it using another mechanism, or is it another approach now? So here we are returning a flashcard scope data. This flashcard scope data, you see, it's holding our data here, and this flashcard scope data is going to extend inherited widgets. So this is handling the encapsulation, which is, with this, our inherited widget is hidden from our consumer. So this is the flashcard scope data. I can do Command B here, or I can just open it here. So this is it, flashcard scope data. It extends inherited widget, and just as before, it's holding our data, and then the super.child, which is the widget tree, which is a representation of the widgets that are going to consume this data. So it's super.child, so which means this child belongs to this inherited widget. Okay, so let's go down, and then we have this boolean which notifies Flutter which consumer widgets will rebuild. So it is returning, say, notify children when any of these reactive properties change. So it's returning all of these data that we're going to be pulling from our inherited widget. So the next thing we need to do is we need to go into our flashcard screen. Or before we even do that, okay, let's do that. And then here, so all of these are going to go away, and then we're going to rewrite this. See, all of this, like all of these functionalities, the data, this class is holding, we've pulled them into this flashcard scope. So we're just going to pull data directly from this using the flashcard scope, using this flashcard scope. So let's go to flashcard screen, and then I'm going to delete all of this, and then we're going to begin from the scratch. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to import package flutter material.dat here, like so, and then here we're going to have class flashcard screen, or okay, extends stateless widget. So it's going to be stateless widget now, stateless widget, like so. And then here we're just going to have the constructor const flashcard screen, and then here we're going to have super.key, like so. So we have to implement our build method. So this override, and then it's going to be widget, and then build. What am I doing? Build, and then here we have build context, and then here we can access our flashcard scope. So here we can do okay, let me just return scaffold here, like so. So let's do like that, And then here, let's just do a final scope. And then we can do flashcard scope. No, flashcard scope. Then we need to make use of that static method of. Then there's going to be context. So with this scope, we can pull data from our flashcard scope. So then we returning scaffold. Let's do hap bar. Hap bar is going to return the hap bar widget. And then in here we can do title. Title is going to be const text. And then here let's just do flashcard quiz. Flashcard quiz, like so. I need a bit of space. Let me move my mic. So here, then we can do center title. Let's do center title. Let's make that true. Center title true, and then let's do actions here. Now I've prepared a widget that's going to handle our actions. So this action is going to allow us to add new questions and answers. So here I'm just going to call action. So it's what is it called? It's a list. So but then we only need a single widget here. So I've prepared a widget. I'm going to call it, what is it? Add card button. This one. We're going to talk a bit on this later on. So like add card button. Let's go back here. So just go with add card button. So that's going to import it like so. And we have to handle the body of our scaffold. And so the body, I think body can be padding. And padding is going to need a padding property. And then let's call that const edge inserts. Zero hall, and then let's do 24.0 like so. And then for the child, now we can do scope dot cards. Now dot is empty. Now this scope dot cards, this cards is the list from our flashcard scope. Where is it? Here. But then we're using this getter to get it, so it's returning this, so we can just get the cards there. So this is a ternary. So if it's empty, we want to do const center, and then for the child we're going to return a text. What do we do inside this text? Let's say no flashcards available. No flashcards available. Hard one. Like so. That's for center, and then we can have another condition here. So here we can do scope dot is finished. This is the quiz finished. If it's finished, we want to return const scorecard. I've put this to scorecard view. I'm going to show you in a minute. Or we're just going to const active quiz view. What is it? Okay, so that's what we have now. For the scorecard view, it's not different from what we had before. We had it's a widget that was private to this class. We just pull here, but then I've extracted it. It's the same as what we had before, only that I've extracted this into some use Control B or is Command B on Mac now. So this is what we have, just as before. Quiz completed. We are also pulling data from our flashcard scope, see scope here, and then wherever we need any data related to what we had before. So for the score, we're pulling scope.score. For the cards, then we're pulling scope.cards.length. Remember, we've pulled all our data into the flashcard scope. I showed us earlier on. And then for here, what is elevator button icon? Scope.restart quiz. So this is the mutation method that we have inside our flashcard scope. And then what is again? Let's go back to flashcard screen. We also have active quiz view. So for the active quiz view, we're also pulling data from our flashcard scope here. And then for the progress, we scope the current index plus 1 divided by scope the cards.length, just as before. There's no surprise there. Another thing is this flashcard counter text. I've extracted it from what we had before, and then I think I put it here, and it's the same card scope the current index plus 1 of what we had here. This question 3 of just like that. And then what is flashcard screen? I think we're done with that. So we've talked about this. We've talked about active quiz view. So I've just extracted all of this. And what is this hard card button? It's the same as what we had before. Before we were doing hard card dialog here. And then this hard card dialog, we're using it inside our flashcard screen. So this is taking form key and then the text editing controller, which allows us to add new question and answer when we open the hard dialog here. So what I'm doing here is inside a hard card button. So I'm handling it here, and then it's a stateless widget, and then in the build method we are returning this show hard dialog method. This is it, and this method is it's displaying this hard card dialog. So this hard card dialog, it's not the same as what we had before, although it shares similarity, but it's just that it's a bit different. So this is it. I took the liberty of putting it in the same class as this, or is in the same file now because they're different class now. So this is it. It's just like before. Text editing controller, question controller, answer controller, and all of that. And then we're disposing there. And then inside our submit, we're validating. And then we are calling the hard card method in our flashcard scope. And then that is going to add new question and answer using this flashcard. I've not changed anything inside this flashcard. It's just like it was before. So this add card is here. Add card. So this is flip card. This is hard card. See? It's taking this card, flashcard, and then inside our set state, we are adding to our cards list. And then we have this condition. Is it finished? We set finish to false and the current index to cards.length -1, like so. Okay, what else? Add card button. I think I'm done with this. Okay, so here it's just like before. Our controller, our text form field. What else? I think that's all. And then in here we have a submit button, which is calling our submit method here, this one. So I think the last thing we need to do now is we need to go into our main.dat, and then this quiz app, we have to wrap it with in flashcard scope. So this is going to be flashcard scope, like so. So it's automatically imported it here. So if everything goes as planned, this should work like before. So remember, we've pulled all the data here inside flashcard scope here. So we just pulling we are just pulling our data, or is it our state now, from here now down our widget tree. So you realize that in the course of everything we've been doing, none of these consumers knew anything about the inherited widgets. So I'm going to rerun this. Hopefully we don't encounter any error. Okay, so it restarted, and let's see what we have. Okay, so I think it's working. I'm going to try to hard to see. Is inherited widget a bit verbose for complex apps? And then here, let's say yes, hard card. Okay, so it's harded like that. So we can start like before. What method triggers a rebuilding stateful widget? So you click this, so it flips set state. So I have to click this. Got this right. Goes to card number 2, and then you say what widget passes data down the tree efficiently? Inherited widget. So and then the third one, which I just added, is inherited widget a bit verbose for complex apps? Yes. Okay, so if you do try again, it goes again like so. So our inherited widget, it has some limitations, and then in our subsequent tutorials, we're going to look at how we can combat those limitations. So you'll realize it's a bit manual and verbose if we're building a complex application. It doesn't have a built-in listening to multiple different inherited widgets easily. So like we only have one inherited widget, which we are wrapping inside our flashcard scope or stateful widget. We also don't have an automatic disposer or more advanced features. So we're going to be looking into provider riverpod block later on. So we're going to stop here for now. I think that's all. Bye bye.